Welcome back. You're watching One on One. We're speaking with the renowned international diplomat, Lakhdar Brahimi. Ambassador, what do you consider your most defining moments?
Arriving in Indonesia at the age of 22, staying there 5 years. I mean, those years have been, you know, terribly important because that's where I learned a lot of the things that have been helpful to me later on. Discovering Asia, for somebody coming from Algeria, speaking only French as a foreign language, and going to Asia, learning a little bit of Indonesian, but mainly English, and starting to read things that I didn't read before. That opened new horizons for me. After that, I think that, of course, the independence of Algeria in July 1962, that was I really don't know. Of course, we believed that we would achieve independence one day. But there again, you had moments of despair, or you say, we'll never make it, not in our lifetime. So when it happened, that was also something. I remember the day we actually flew into Algiers, 5th of July, 1962. This is something that will never disappear from your memory. Then I think, there are some, we spoke earlier of the frustration of peacemaking. But there are small moments, short moments of incredible happiness and sense of achievement. Probably the best of those was South Africa, leading the United Nations mission during the election in 1994 when Mandela was elected. To be there at that time, you forget everything else.
You got all the tough assignments, though: Haiti, Lebanon, Afghanistan,
Yeah, sure,
Iraq.
sure.
I gather Iraq was one of the big disappointments for you.
Terribly so, yeah, sure. Iraq is, I was, although I was working for the United Nations, I said in 2003 that I was against the war before the war started. And when the war started, on the day the war started, I was in Afghanistan. I went to the press and I said, I'm terribly sorry about what happened, and this is wrong, and it is going to be a catastrophe. Then I was sent there. I resisted very, very much the idea of going there, but I was encouraged by a lot of people that this has to be done. We helped form a government which the Americans said was going to be the occasion to restore sovereignty to Iraq. It wasn't quite that. It was terribly disappointed to be in an occupied country, eating every day with the occupiers, living, under the protection of the occupiers was a feeling of being comfortable every single minute of the day and of the night. And then, what we have achieved was not enough. Was not. I don't know. Probably it was not good at all. So that was a very, very big feeling of not being at the right place.
You're considered a tough diplomat, and I wonder, do you need to have a thick skin? Are you able to handle criticism well? For example, if you're accused, Israel accuses you of being anti-Israeli with comments, you have to be able to handle that well?
Oh, sure. I think, yes, you have got to accept criticism. Quite often criticism is fair. And also criticism from the point of view of the people who are criticizing you. If the Israelis, what they are saying is that we don't like what you are saying, of course they don't. I didn't say what I said about what they were doing in Palestine and all the abuse of human rights that we think exists, so that the Israelis find it acceptable. So you've got to accept that. You have got to accept even unfair criticism. And also, you've got always to listen to people and see if what they are saying is perhaps right. I think that during the campaign, President Obama said something to the effect that, if I find out new facts, it's normal that I change my mind. I think one has to. That is the right thing to do. Sure.
How has this experience dealing with so many heads of state, with world leaders, affected your judgment of those in power? How do you judge those who rule the world in different areas?
In two or three ways. Sometimes, when you see people from afar in the press, television, or you hear them on the radio, you form a certain idea of this man or woman. When you see them, either you are terribly disappointed, say, he sounded much better than he actually is, or on the contrary, you think that he's even better than I thought he was. There is one man, I think, who is in that last category, undoubtedly, and that is Nelson Mandela. The few times I met him, every time you speak to him, you find that this is a great guy.
Apart from someone like him who perhaps inspired you, who else has inspired you? Who have been your mentors?
I'm not sure whether I have had mentors in the regular sense of the word, but there are a lot of people I have admired a great deal. As I told you, I've discovered Asia when I was very young. Gandhi had already died, but Nehru was still around, Sukarno was around. I mean, these two people in Asia were people I respected very, very much. These are people I respected and worked with, even if you don't agree with them all the time, but I think you respect them.
Did it ever occur to you to run for office yourself?
No, never. I was extremely happy, to serve, whether at the national level, at the regional level, or at the international level. I'm very happy with this kind of life.
Is there a need for appreciation, though, at least to get a sense that people appreciate what you do? I know there's a story of an elderly bearded man coming up to you in Mecca and kissing you and thanking you for all the work you've done. How important is it to know that people actually recognize what you do?
Yeah, I think one is a human, and I think it's important for your ego. It is important to be reminded from time to time that what you are doing is noticed and that it is helping other people. And in this line of business, we started by speaking about, peacemaking and so on. It would be horrible if people came to you and said, you've messed up, you've done something horrible that has been bad for us. So, the first thing is make sure that you do no harm. And try to do your best, and your best is always, if not good enough, good. So I think it is terribly important, and the source of real happiness to see that there is a little bit of appreciation for what one does.
Is there anything outstanding in your personal life or your professional life that you'd like to complete? Is there anything that you really wanted to get done but haven't had a chance?
One of the problems that you have is that before things stabilize for good, I don't know if there is anything like for good. Everything is provisional in life. Life itself is provisional. So you go to a place like Lebanon, you do this Taif agreement, war stops. That's a huge achievement. When you've been there and you've been hearing this, shelling non-stop, and then all of a sudden it stops completely. That's great. But then when you see some years later new tensions, new problems, and so on, your hands start itching. That can I help there? Afghanistan is even more dramatic now, where we thought we've done well, and I think we did. But certainly it was extremely fragile. And because of mistakes that have been made by us and others, Afghanistan is in very bad shape now. So there again, you tell yourself, can I help?
How would you like to be remembered? What would you like your legacy to be?
As a good amateur peacemaker.
Well, I wish you a lot of luck. Ambassador, thank you very much for your time. It was an honor.
Thank you very much. The honor is mine. Thank you.